Hello, everybody. This was not planned, but I decided to start a new series of little videos where I will talk about certain things that people may believe are in the Bible, but are not, and things that are in the Bible that you may not be aware of. So I'm hoping that this will be interesting to you. I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants. I did not really prepare anything, but I did want to discuss a few things. I I love Christmas. I celebrate Christmas every year, but I celebrate it as just a cultural tradition, and I do not celebrate Christmas as a religious holiday. And that might surprise some of you. And I'm not going to, point my finger at anybody or condemn anybody who does, but I do want to bring attention to some facts about it. Hi, Shangy Girl. And whether people want to believe it or not, the origin of Christmas is brought from paganism. It can be traced back to the ancient Roman and Norse civilizations. In fact, December 25th was not even the date of Jesus' birth. The early Christians appropriated what was originally a pagan holiday because it was convenient. Before that, the people of ancient Europe had celebrations of the pagan god Saturn or even Odin at the end of December to mark the shortest day of the year. Indeed, many of the Christian traditions we have today come from these ancient festivals. Some examples include kissing under the mistletoe and decorating trees. The origins of Christmas are complex and intertwined with various cultural and religious traditions, including some pagan elements. While Christmas is primarily celebrated today by most people in the world as a Christian holiday that commemorates the birth of Jesus Christ, it coincides with the winter solstice and incorporates elements from pre Christian traditions. The winter solstice for the northern hemisphere takes place on December 22nd, the day when the Earth's axis is tilted furthest away from the sun. It is the shortest day of the year and is meant to mark the beginning of winter in the northern hemisphere. But it is also a time of hope because the days begin lengthening again as spring is coming sooner and sooner. A lot of people in the modern world might not even know that this winter celebration actually has nothing to do with the scriptures and religion. They may be even more surprised to learn that Christmas celebrations like decorating with holly, putting up Christmas trees, kissing under the mistletoe, these things are all rooted in the ancient fertility rituals. These are all symbolic acts to celebrate the fertility of the earth and the approach of the sowing season. Before throwing the word pagan around, we should also discuss something. Uh, we should just discuss what it means. What does the word pagan mean? Who were they exactly? Paganism was originally a word used by the early Christians to refer to the polytheistic Romans when it essentially means what it essentially means is non Christian. It could apply just as well to the Norse people in Scandinavia and the ancient Celts of the British Isles. As the Christian missionaries began to roam around Western Europe and the larger world, they used the term pagan to refer to anyone who did not share their beliefs on religion. Their multiple gods were classed within the single category of pagan gods. In the first few centuries of Christianity, the Christians wanted to spread their religion around Europe, but they were also quite fascinated by the religions that already existed. They knew that it would be difficult for ordinary people to completely divorce themselves from everything that they had always known. This included the celebrations for the winter solstice. They had to give the people something that was familiar and known. Given that Jesus was born around this time period, supposedly by some people's figures, it was easy enough to incorporate existing traditions into the celebration of the birth of Jesus. Now, the Romans and the Saturnalia festival is another thing to discuss. The people of ancient Rome celebrated the winter solstice with the festival of Saturnalia. It was meant as a way to celebrate and give thanks to the Roman god of agriculture, Saturn. By the time the winter solstice came out, the last planting season had been completed. Thus, the ancient Romans could then happily engage in an entire week of festivities. The Saturnalia festival was usually celebrated between December 17th and December 24th. Even now, Christmas is not really a celebration of one day. It's called the Christmas season, and festivities start well in advance of December 25th. In the Saturnalia festival, the December 25th was considered the climax and had a special name, Vermalia. During Saturnalia and Vermalia, all social hierarchies were overturned. The people, including the Roman slaves, indulged in widespread merrymaking. The slaves could even take part in public celebrations and not work on the last day of the festival. People gambling or public gambling was a big event, and everyone was allowed to wear colorful clothes. The Phrygian cap, worn by the freed Roman slaves, was worn as a symbol of the freedom of the season. Many of the modern Christmas traditions originated in the ancient Roman Empire. However, there may have been a darker side to Saturnalia and the festival. An innocent Roman citizen would be elected as the Lord of Misrule for a period of 30 days for the festival. This was a temporary king of sorts who would preside over the wild partying and drunken antics during the celebration. On the last day, the Lord of Misrule would be sacrificed to Saturn on the altar. This marked the end of anarchy and a return to social conventions. There's no conclusive evidence for this, although folklorists like James Frazer and Michael Bachten have theorized about this. The Romans had another festival around the same time, Natalis Solis Invicti. I'm sorry, my Latin is not very good. Birth of the Invincible Sun. This was dedicated to the Iranian sun god Mithra. In pre praying Iran, Mithra was the god of the sun, justice, and war. He was heavily associated with the Roman sun god Sol. Emperor Aurelian declared that December 25th was the birthday of the unconquerable sun, and it was a festival mostly celebrated by upper class male Romans. In fact, Mithraism was a special and select cult. It is interesting that Christians decided to celebrate the birth of Jesus on this very day. What is also interesting is that one of the epithet epithets of Jesus is the Son of Justice, S-U-N. I could go further, but, I think I'll stop there. But I do want to share some scripture with you. Hey, Steve-O. Hey, Misty. Good to see y'all. Some other things that I would like to point out is, first, there's nothing in the New Testament that shows by command or example any Christians in the first century celebrating Christmas or Easter or any other religious holiday. So that's I don't know if very many people are aware of that, but that's a fact. Um, Another fact that people may not be aware of is, did you know that the Bible, nowhere in the New Testament, nowhere in the Gospels, does it tell us how many wise men came to see Jesus? People just assume there were three. And the reason they assume this is because they brought three gifts. Uh, Let me see if I can go there real quick. Also, another thing I wanted to point out is by the time the wise men or magi uh, saw Jesus, he was not in the manger anymore. He was about 2 years old. They didn't see him when he was born, and they didn't bring his gifts on December 25th that anyone can know for sure anyway. And there's nothing that tells us that that was Jesus' birthday. Yeah, it was 2 or 3, somewhere around there. I don't know that it says exactly how old he was, but he was not a baby in the manger in Bethlehem. The only people that saw Jesus in the manger in Bethlehem were the shepherds. Interesting to think about. You can look it up. Um, I believe it's in Matthew chapter 1 and 2, um, where you can read about the wise men. And it says, actually, it does say, uh, we get the impression it was 2 years old because after the wise men had not returned to King Herod to tell him where Jesus was, that's when King Herod commanded that all male babies or children 2 years old and under were to be killed. And that's you can find that in Matthew chapter 2, verses 16 and following. So that's how we get the idea he was about 2 approximately. Uh, Definitely was not, um, they didn't see him in the manger, though. And I'm not trying to be a downer about Christmas because I celebrate Christmas and I love to sing Christmas songs, even religious-oriented Christmas songs, but as a Christian, I do not celebrate them as a rel I celebrate it or any other holiday as a religious holiday. I do celebrate them, but I celebrate them as just a cultural, tradition. So for me anyway, Jesus is not the reason for the season. Um, and I know there are people that are going to disagree with me. That's all right. If you want to discuss it or study it privately, I'll be happy to do that. This is not going to be a very long one, so I'm going to wrap it up here. And I do plan on occasionally bringing some other fact up that you may not be aware of about the Bible. And I'm hoping that these little short videos will encourage people to dig in the Bible themselves and study it for themselves. Um, Also, my goal is to seek the truth and question everything. And that's the way my dad raised me to be. I questioned everything that I was taught by my parents. And I think that's healthy. We should all do that. Nobody can know it all. But also, I don't really think that I can get anywhere if I'm studying with somebody unless they agree that the Bible has the final say about whatever topic we're talking about. And I am also going to try to do a shorter segment series of how we got the Bible and how we know we can depend on it, the accuracy of the Bible. But I want to try to plan that out better and make it easy to understand because you can get really confused when people use PhD language. I know I can, but I just hope you'll look forward to those other things that I will post about the Bible and that we will learn from each other. But if we can agree that the Bible is without error and the final authority, I think we can agree on a lot if we study carefully together, even if at first we do not see things the same way. I don't believe that God ever intended us to have denominations. Some people, when they say they're uh, part of a non denominational church, they actually mean an interdenominational church because they don't believe it matters what denomination you're from or a part of. You can worship together anyway. A true non denominational person is someone who doesn't believe denominations are right and that there's only one church. And the way to be that one church is to follow the Bible alone as our final authority. So that's a big difference. And yes, I celebrate the joy of the season too, Steve. I like I said, I don't want to try to put a downer on anybody who celebrates Christmas as a religious holiday or try to point fingers at them or anything like that. Um, I still celebrate it as a joyful holiday, a season of giving and love, but I do not celebrate it as a religious holiday. I don't. It's not going to be part of the worship service where I go because we understand that it's not based in Christianity. We have no biblical authority for it, so therefore we don't do it. And but that's how I see it. And again, wish you all the best. And I will be singing more Christmas songs, wearing a Santa hat, and having fun. And I'm going to have a concert where I sing Christmas songs. And I'm going to have an open mic theme night of Christmas. So, two things to look forward to. The open mic Christmas show is going to be on the 16th, which is Beethoven's birthday. And The 17th is when I'm gonna do my Christmas concert, and I do have those scheduled already, so try to go there and be notified for when they start, and I'll look forward to seeing you then, Lord willing, and I will do my best to continue my Bible studies on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Central. All right? For now, good night. God bless.